Hello and welcome to my channel Inspiring Life Changes. My name is Colette and I'm here today on the day of this full moon in Aquarius to do a reading for the collective energies to see what is taking place for us as we move further into this year 2020 and the energies that we are going to be dealing with over this next month from this full moon to the next full moon, which will be taking place in the sign of Pisces. So the first card I'm going to bring out for us today is this card literally of the Aquarius full moon here. And it's saying to us that we need to show the world the real you or the real us. And I kind of see this as an energy of being asked to stand up and express who we are. Aquarius, is a sign of air, so it is to do with communication, the brain, speaking. It's ruled by Uranus, and Uranus is the higher mind, so it's the higher consciousness. So it's to do with seeing things from a higher vantage point, a higher conscious mind, and bringing that energy down. Here she is, the water bearer, pouring the water of life out onto the earth plane. It can also be seen as being spiritual life force as well, rather than it just being water, although water is an incredibly important element. But the sign of Aquarius is itself an air sign, so it is to do with more communication. And we have the full moon energy itself here, which is saying surrender to the divine. So in the time of the full moon, we are being asked to let go of all that we have accumulated up to this point in many ways. And just taking a look at the cards here, we have only 2 cards that are actually upright, and so everything else is reversed. And I'm getting this kind of feeling of stagnation, a real kind of stagnant energy that needs to be let go of in order for us to be able to shift things forward at this time. And then we have the fixed moon here, which is saying hold your vision. Fixed moon because Aquarius is a fixed sign. It's one of the 4 fixed signs along with Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius and Leo, of course. So while the moon is full in while the moon is full in Aquarius, we have the sun in Leo energy as well. For anybody who's interested in the astrology, there is going to be a free natal link for themselves down below. I will also be doing a chart, a video for the actual full moon energies as well, like an astrology video. So I will actually go through the astrology of the full moon as it's happening, as well as something that is taking place not long after this full moon as well, in about 7 days time, which for me I think is particularly of big importance, and it's probably the most important energy over the next 10 weeks that we're going to be going through. And that is going to be the conjunction of Mars and Black Moon Lilith, which I have spoken about before in my other videos as well. So if you're interested, there will be an astrology video put out there today as well. And also the blog, I will put a link in the description box down below as well, or in the comments section, so that you can also go and check that out as well. So starting the reading off with this card here, which kind of came out 3 times, in the sense of when I was doing my shuffling originally, I always kind of meditate on the energy of the cards, holding the cards, meditating on the cards. And when I cut the cards, this was the card that it cut to, but I always shuffle the cards afterwards as well. So as I was shuffling the cards, this kind of popped out, but it popped out with about 3-4 other cards, and I was like, no, that's too many, I need to put them back in. And then finally this card came out, so it was kind of like a confirmation, if you like, that this was really definitely the card that wants to be our full moon Aquarius card today. And the card itself is called Palace of the Medicine Buddha, and it shows the medicine Buddhas up the top, and it says, known as the master of remedies, the enlightened one gathered together all the Hindu gods of healing, bodhisattvas of medicine, great Tibetan doctors and great sages of India, masters of herbs, to cure all the sickness of the world. Together, these great healers assist the human form to respond to its natural healing impulse. Just as the Dalai Lama teaches that health is a question of balance, seek a sound body, mind and spirit, and this natural impulse will be activated. Look deeply inside, you will find the paradise realm of the medicine Buddha that is within our universal body. And the message here, if you like, is about restoring balance, which I feel at this time is really appropriate because of all the sickness that we are experiencing during this time. And we're seeing it as kind of a physical sickness that's happening, but there is of course sickness of the mind as well, and sickness of the spirit too. And over this coming 10 weeks, as this conjunction of Mars and Black Moon Lilith come together, I feel that we are going to see more of this sickness coming out, to do with the mind and the spirit, not so much to do with the physical body, but more to do with the mind and the spirit. So this card is really saying that in order to be healthy, we need to restore that balance within ourselves. And if we restore the balance within ourselves, we kind of emanate that outside of ourselves as well. And then it kind of has a bigger effect and a knock-on effect as well. So that's the card that we have at this time. And it speaks very much to me as well about natural healing, natural balance, as in we don't need interference within our own health as well, if we can balance and restore our body, mind and spirit. So the first card of the actual reading itself I'm going to pull here is the Seven of Cups, and this is the one of the two cards that is upright in the right position, and it's all about confusion. And I feel that this really is our state of mind at this time. We are so confused about what we can and can't have at this time. Everything is in flux, everything is kind of up in the air. Seven of Cups is castles in the air. It's kind of having, on some level, having too many options, to the point where we don't know anymore what it is that we want. And I kind of feel that this is where the last 6 months has kind of led us to, because there is no definites about anything at this time in our lives. It's like this last 6 months has made us come to the realization, if you like, that we can't really be certain of anything. What we thought we had, we may no longer have. Options that we had before, or the stability in many ways that we thought we had before, is no longer there. And the Seven of Cups talks, like I was saying, these castles in the air energy of like things that are just floating around. Nothing is really kind of materializing, nothing is really being brought down and actualized at this time, because it isn't a time when we're being able to actually achieve any of our desires at this moment in time. There's too many complications, there's too much confusion, there's too many things that we can and can't do. It's just a general state of like fogginess in our heads and just wondering. And this is what the Two of Swords is saying for me as well over the top of this as our challenging energy here. She is blindfold, so she really can't see clearly. She can't see the road ahead. She doesn't know which path to take, even with these two swords here. Not even being able to make a decision at this time. But again, I feel it's kind of, I've spoken about this before as well, this energy of Gemini, this kind of split in the path. We have the North Node in the sign of Gemini as well. And the North Node is all about our destiny, our North Star, where we're pointing our ships, where we're kind of heading towards. And so I see this as that kind of Gemini energy, the Two of Swords. The duality, the two separate paths, right, wrong, black, white, left brain, right brain, up, down, good, bad. It's all that duality. It's choice. Which path do I take? Where do I go from here? And because she's blindfold here as well, in many ways, she doesn't want to make a move. She doesn't want to actually do anything because she doesn't know, because she can't see clearly. There is no clear path ahead, which is what this 7 here is saying to me as well. There's no clear path here, no definites, no certainty. So it feels so much easier in many ways to just kind of sit, just to sit in this energy. But it's also saying to me that we can't do that forever, because it's the challenge. We can't do that. A decision has to be made. Something has to be decided upon and acted upon as well. But what's in our head at this time of the Aquarius full moon, and what we're aware of with this Ace of Pentacles, is that, again, it talks to me about the potentials, the physical realm. It is like we've kind of, I feel, again, it's kind of that upside down energy, not just because it's in reverse here, but it is kind of this sense of like the world being turned upside down. And I think I've spoken about this in another reading as well. I do believe this card has come out previously in the same position as well, I think. And so it's saying in reverse that we're not able to see the opportunity that this is. That at this time there is so much confusion surrounding all this, that we're not able to see that this is actually, on some level, beneficial to our growth. With the Ace of Pentacles in reverse, it is all about growth. It's all about kind of taking that pentacle and making it into more pentacles. When the Ace energy comes in, it's a new energy, it's a new beginning. So it's kind of what we are aware of as we move further into this 2020 year, is that we're going to have to kind of start things anew in many ways. There has to be these new opportunities. But as of yet, we are not able to see them. It's all kind of hidden. Again, I see this as being the hidden, like this as being what's on top, and this is all hidden. If you turn it up that way, you can see that it's actually a tree here. with this large pentacle, and on that tree there's lots of little tiny gold flecks which all reflect lots of tiny little pentacles, lots of kind of glittering gold, if you like. But because it's come out in reverse, it's kind of saying that all this is buried. This is buried, and this is kind of all that we can see. Is this what should be where the roots are? But it feels like this is the roots down here, and this is the top part of the tree. And that's why I kind of feel as though we're in this upside down world as well, where everything is kind of topsy-turvy, on its head. Nothing is as it appears or seems to be. And there's also, you know, a possible sense of kind of things that we were hoping to be able to achieve, we can no longer achieve. So let's see what's the energy that we have been working through as a collective. We've been working through the Nine of Pentacles here, and again it's in reverse. Again, we've got all these pentacle energies here. And I feel that this card is kind of saying not only that our self-esteem is very low at this time, I feel it's also kind of saying that we as a whole, as a collective, as a human race, we have learnt, if you like, or been conditioned, or conditioned and learnt, like learnt behaviour, that we are what we do. That we have kind of become so accustomed to working at something in a certain way, or for a certain company, or that we see ourselves as being part of that, and that we judge ourselves in many ways, and our self-esteem and our self-worth, by what it is that we do, how we make a living, how we bring in the money that we need in order to be able to continue our lifestyles. And in reverse, this is kind of saying to me that because there has been this situation that we've been going through for the past 6-7 months now, there's like this mass loss of identity somehow. Like identity, self-worth, understanding of who we are, and in a way it's kind of forced us to look at ourselves in a different way as well. A lot of people have kind of been looking to or having been forced into a situation where they're having to kind of question in many ways, which also could be this Two of Swords energy here as well, because that can be to do with questioning, the questioning mind, Gemini energy. A value system as well. And we have had Venus in Gemini. In fact, Venus is still in Gemini. She's getting towards the end of Gemini, but she is still in Gemini. She's out of shadow. But she has been on a journey of kind of self-discovery when it comes to our self-worth, when it comes to our relationships, especially in our relationships to other people, reflecting back on how we also judge ourselves or our self-esteem, again, through other people. So it's in reverse. So it's kind of saying at the moment the kind of collective self-esteem is kind of quite low. It's kind of quite subdued in a way. people aren't feeling supported. There could also be a part of that as well, that they're no longer feeling supported either by others or particularly by themselves, that they themselves can no longer support themselves in the way that they've been able to do previously. And underneath all this, and where this is kind of coming from, we have the Four of Cups and the Chariot energy here, movement, as it's known in this particular deck. So the Four of Cups has come out a few times as well, I think. I seem to kind of recall this energy. Four, for me, is always a challenge, but there's also a sense of unbalance here as well, which is interesting because this card literally talks about kind of the need to restore that balance as well, restoring the balance of our inner, and maybe this is also something to do with this as well, is inner self-esteem, this inner mind, body, soul and spirit, if you like. Because the Four talks about disappointment, it talks about things that we're no longer satisfied with, having to kind of take a deeper look at ourselves, at the world, at the situation that we find ourselves in. And because it's come out with the Chariot in reverse here as well, movement card in reverse, it is saying to me that that we are stuck. There has not been any movement. We don't feel as though we've got any further down this path. We've got to a point where we're kind of just, it's kind of like deja vu in a way. It's kind of going over the same old ground. And it's dissatisfying. It's not feeding us. It's not helping us to grow. At least we don't feel as though we are. And the energy that we have moving in here is the upside down intuitive card, intuition, the High Priestess, or wisdom as she is known in this card. High Priestess, wisdom, intuition, listening to our inner voice, listening to how we feel, knowing what's right for us. But because it's in reverse, again, I kind of feel as though we're not trusting. We are not trusting that part of ourselves that kind of knows on some level what it is that we need to do in order to change our world for ourselves here. And we're not, as a whole, kind of brought up to trust our intuition, our feelings, our kind of inner world, if you like, is one that has been seen as being irrelevant in many ways. It's one that's been kind of put down by the logical, very kind of patriarchal system that has been created for us over these last thousands of years. And so I feel that in reverse, that's what it's really saying to us, is that there is this inner voice, there is this inner knowing, there is this trust that we need to feel within ourselves. We need to trust our inner knowledge, our inner wisdom. Trust that we are much more than what we are told we are as well, on many levels. Again, it's kind of the physical realm and the intellectual realm versus the kind of hidden inner realm, which is a lot harder to actually, because you can't see it, you can only feel it or sense it or know it on some deeper level, that it's really hard to kind of get other people who don't have this kind of wisdom and this sense of, although everybody does, but it kind of, in some people it's so closed off that they just can't allow themselves to go there. And it makes it really hard as well for those people who do come from this energy to actually be able to not just trust it, but also to kind of express it. Because it is a realm that is kind of in many ways seen as a madness, and has been for a long, long time as well. People who tap into this energy are kind of seen as being a bit kind of bonkers and a bit kind of out there and a bit kind of like, you know, wacky. Which is all very Aquarian energy, in fact. You know, very Aquarian energy in the sense of Aquarius is very much about the unique, the different, the kind of, yeah, wacky, odd, weird kind of energy that is a lot harder to what's the word here, kind of in a material physical world, it's a lot harder for those with that kind of very Aquarian wacky out there energy to be accepted as being kind of the norm in a way. But this card for me is really saying that as we move further into 2020 and as we get closer to 2021, we are going to have to really trust, learn to trust what's coming, learn to trust our inner knowing. And maybe even that people who do have this are going to be kind of more sought out or looked to for their deeper wisdom and understanding and knowledge. In our hopes and our fears at this time, we have the Three of Staves here. And the Three of Staves, or Three of Rods, Wands, is kind of us looking again in reverse, but it's kind of us looking into the future, but we still don't know what's coming. It's in reverse, and the whole reading for me has this real kind of stagnant energy about it. Like we're just in this bubble at the moment. And that our kind of creativity and our passion and our drive and our dynamic energy, which is very much Leo Sun energy as well, and Mars is in Aries, so we're all kind of feeling this drive and this push to kind of do and be active. Summer months, the sun's out, we want to do and be and join together, and this is kind of saying to me here that this is being in some way held back, being able to move into that future. But it's kind of, again, it's kind of like knowing at some point, because there's these two staves here and she's got her hand on just this one here as well. Which is kind of symbolic of something that we, like leaving the other two, leaving this as if this is the past and this is our kind of prop, if you like, and not prop as such, but like almost like, you know, when you're walking into the future, and a walking stick in some ways, a kind of support here that we're going to be taking with us into the future. But interestingly as well, if you look at these staves, they also have these like green leaves coming out of them as well. So there is life force energy in this card. But again, because it's in reverse, I just feel as though it's kind of stagnant. It's kind of got to that stage where there is limited action. Along with this card here, limited action, limited movement. Nothing is really going anywhere or doing much at all. Well, that's how it appears to us, at least. That's the energy that we are aware of on some level. Even though the Chariot or the movement card is in the subconscious, so it's kind of saying that it's that deeper realm. It is this realm here that we're kind of aware of. Maybe even that this isn't the right time to move forward with anything. Maybe this is the time for reflection, that we do need to go within, and we do need to kind of ask ourselves questions, seek answers. And the energy that we have as a kind of outcome, and I say kind of outcome because the outcome can always change. The energy of the outcome can always be shifted because nothing is set in stone. So everything has the potential to kind of move in a different direction. But the King of Cups is about this realm of the subconscious. He is a card of feeling, of sensitivity. When he's upright, it's about a maturity. It's about coming to our emotional maturity. Feeling more balanced in ourselves, feeling more as though we have an understanding of our emotions. We can use our emotions in a balanced and harmonious and productive fashion. It's kind of owning our own emotions here as well. And if you see here, he's also wearing this pink cape as well, which is a very kind of feminine, if you like, colour. It's kind of saying, you know, this is him being able to be soft. It's the masculine energy in many ways as well, kind of a softening energy there. An acceptance as well with the king when he's upright, an acceptance of his own emotions, of what he feels. Which is important, because when we own our own emotions, we don't kind of throw them out there into the world at other people. We don't kind of project them out as other people's problems. So the King of Cups is kind of saying to me that there is a maturity, a growing up that is taking place here. And he is one of the only two cards in the reading that is actually upright as well. So that in itself for me is a good sign, shall we say. It's kind of saying that there is a maturity happening here. There is something that we need to be aware of that is taking place on a deeper level for us, but we can't see it. And because we can't see it, we don't want to necessarily and not that we don't want to acknowledge it, because we can't see it, we're just feeling it, but it's the feeling side that we're having problems with at this time. So, oh, interesting. So we have the Page of Swords and, oh wow, I didn't see that one hiding behind there. The Ten of Pentacles, the Page of Swords, and the High Priestess have all come out here together. Over the top of the 7 and the 2 here as well. So the Ten of Pentacles is the follow-on from the 9 here. So it's saying that there is success to be achieved here. There is something that, again, it's maturity because it's the 10, and it's also a completion as well. So it is kind of finishing out a cycle here. A cycle that has been kind of being repeated by ourselves. Again, to do with value, to do with success, how we view success, nurturing, but it's also about our legacy as well, the Ten of Pentacles. It's also about the legacy of what it is that we are creating in order to leave it for the generations that are yet to come. And because it's upright, it's kind of saying to me that we are beginning, I feel, to kind of be more aware of this, that what we do will affect our future generations as well, and that we need to be responsible for the energy that we put out into the bigger world. And the effects of us kind of, you know, everything, wanting it all. What's the bigger effect of that, of wanting it all? Because so many people have been kind of led to believe that to be successful, you have to have as much as you can have, as much as you can grab, kind of thing. But that's not necessarily what success is. So I feel as though it's kind of telling us that there is this need to be aware of the legacy of our generations to come as well. Page of Swords is an energy of kind of immaturity, questioning, questing, seeking, wanting answers. But it's done in a kind of childlike or childish manner. Again, it's air energy, it's Gemini, it's Aquarius, and it's Libra energy here. There could also be a sense here of us being treated like children as well, and not being allowed to kind of grow up and make our own minds up and take responsibility as well for our own actions. And kind of being kept in this place of immaturity, that we're not able to make the decisions that we need to make for ourselves. And on some level there could also be you know, those that are questioning or seeking answers or wanting to know why things are the way they are kind of getting put down by others as well as being stupid, that you don't understand. There's just this kind of child, when it's in reverse, it's more childish energy. It's kind of, I feel it's kind of being treated like children and not being allowed to kind of ask the questions that need to be asked. And if you do ask the questions that need to be asked, then you're kind of what's the word I'm looking for here? You're kind of pigeonholed in a way as being disruptive, because this is quite a disruptive energy as well. The Page of Swords. So yeah, it's kind of being seen as being disruptive and argumentative, and I just get this general feeling of being kind of viewed as a child, as being kind of like, you know, you're immature, you're stupid to even ask those questions. Why can't you just accept the way things are? Which there is also with this Ten of Pentacles as well. There can be this traditional energy within this as well. Tradition just being tradition, things kind of always being the way they are because that's how they've always been. But we do have the High Priestess here as well, again. So we have her twice, this High Priestess energy. And in this particular deck, the High Priestess is kind of going down into the underworld here. It's kind of the garden is in the background, which is where she wants to be, but it's a sense of having to go down into the subconscious realm in order to kind of find that that wisdom, that knowledge, that ancient kind of I feel this kind of ancient truth. Again, we have this kind of duality going on here as well with these two towers, which kind of these two swords are kind of representing this again, as I was talking about earlier, this duality energy. So the High Priestess is saying to me, again, you know, it's like now is the time to trust our instincts, our knowing, our inner wisdom, our inner voice. The fact that we have this kind of, how can you put it, this kind of universal or collective wisdom, this collective history even of generations, a generational growth and understanding that is kind of that we can tap into, that has been there, that has been passed on. And for some reason I'm getting this kind of story of the masculine and the feminine energy here as well, but also with this pomegranate that she's holding in her hand. It's kind of this forbidden seed, or because the reason that Persephone here was taken down into the underworld by Hades or Pluto. He stole her to be his wife, and she ate one seed from this pomegranate, and because she'd eaten one seed from this pomegranate, she was forced by Zeus to stay 6 months underground and 6 months above ground, which is where the seasons are said to come from, why we have the spring and the summer, and then the autumn is when she kind of disappears back underground again, and then we have the winter time as well. So it does talk about this kind of wisdom, this ancient wisdom for me, but also this kind of like something that's forbidden. But she knows she knows both worlds. It's like she lives in both worlds. She lives 6 months above the ground. She lives 6 months below the ground. So she knows and understands both of these realms. And again, that could be to do with balance as well here as well. Balancing our inner and outer world. Because we are so very caught up with our outer world. Our outer world gets all our attention, really. The physical realm. But the physical realm is kind of in a state of flux at this time as well. Which I feel is why the High Priestess is saying, you know, go within. The answers are within. What you need to understand and be aware of is within. It could also talk as well, because it is the card of, in some ways, Pluto energy as well, because it is the underworld. It is Persephone going down into the depths of the underworld, which can be to do with the emotions, subconscious realm. But it can also talk about kind of from dark to light as well. Almost like seeing this as a rebirth in a way, as coming out of the dark into the light here. This kind of being the, in a way, kind of the birth canal here of something being reborn, which again is kind of Pluto energy, Scorpionic energy. Which, although the High Priestess kind of relates to the energy of Pisces, she can also relate to the energy of Scorpio, which is birth, death and rebirth, because she does kind of go through that process, same as the seasons do, where everything kind of dies down and comes back to life again. So it could also be talking about that we are going through this kind of deeper inner death for this rebirth to take place. And that we will have this kind of greater understanding of what it's all about as well. We are moving closer to the conjunction that's going to be taking place on the 21st of December between Saturn and Jupiter at the 0 point of Aquarius. So this Aquarian full moon in many ways is a kind of precursor to that kind of major, bigger event that's about to come into our lives. We have the Queen of Wands and the Justice card come out over the top of this Ace of Pentacles, this kind of feeling of opportunities that are not there at the time. And the Queen of Wands is very much that kind of energy of creativity, of fire, of passion, of drive, of loyalty, loyalty to herself, loyalty to others. It can have quite a lot to do with humanity in general as well on some level. It has the lioness, or the lioness energy here as well, and the sun is literally in Leo at this time. So like I was saying, you know, it's a time when we all want to be out and doing and creating and making things happen, and at this time we're not being able to. And again, this card is kind of relating to me. It's just kind of jumped out at me about this kind of underworld here, where the growth is actually taking place below the surface rather than what we're seeing on the surface here. Again, with this High Priest energy going down into the depths here. possibly to discover this treasure as well, kind of coming out again as this treasure. Maybe that's also why we need to go down into the depths, is to discover that treasure within ourselves. Part of that treasure is our own inner creativity, our connection, because the wands can also, the fire energy, I also see it as being part of the spirit, the spiritual force, if you like, the energetic energy, as I prefer to call it, the kind of creative flame of life. Without that creative drive, that creative passion, things just kind of stay stagnant. They don't really take on a life force or take on a energy or a direction. Queen of Wands is the energy of Sagittarius, Leo and Aries, and there is a lot of fire energy around us at this time. As I was saying earlier, Mars in Aries, in his home sign, he's going to be there for 6 months. Leo, Sun in Leo, and the Sagittarius energy, which at this moment in time has the South Node there as well. So there is a lot of fire energy. It's like all the fire signs are activated at this time, one way or another. And the South Node is all about what we need to let go of, what we need to release out of our lives in order for us to be able to grow beyond where we have been at that point. And so with the Sagittarius energy of it kind of being about justice and freedom, which actually we have the Justice card come out here as well, but it's a kind of sense of a higher justice, a higher kind of karmic justice. This card here, for me, I see this more as a kind of energy of Mercury, this justice energy. Air energy, again we've got the 2 pillars here as well. Similar energy here. Sitting between the 2 pillars, sitting between right and wrong, sitting between left and right, brain. Justice is a very logical energy, which is why I personally can't relate it to Libra, because Libra to me is much more about fairness and balance. And even though I know that there is this kind of scales here as well, which Gemini also does represent, or is represented, because Gemini is this dual energy as well. So it is kind of getting that balance between the right brain, the left brain, the right and the wrong, kind of not going too far one way or the other. Whereas Libra energy for me is much more about personal relationships. It's much more, the 7th house energy is about one-to-one. It's our personal, intimate relationships. But the Justice card here is much more logical. It's much more about taking the emotions out of the picture completely, so that you get a fair and balanced outcome. She has the sword here as well, which represents truth. Sword of truth, being able to cut through whatever it is that you're not, that isn't a part of the, what's the word I'm looking for, the situation, the story, whatever it is that justice is needing to look at that time to find that fairness, that balance, that outcome. And she also has the owl that sits on her shoulder here as wisdom. The owl represents wisdom, being able to see in the dark, usually justice would be seen as being blindfolded and blind as well, which actually is very much this energy here. Wherever it's gone, it is this energy for me. This two, it's like it's come out twice in many ways. But this is a higher balance, a higher justice, like justice from a higher realm, not so much the man-made realm, whereas this is much more to do with the man-made realm, because this is kind of a decision that we have to make for ourselves, whereas this is much more about something that's on a bigger scale, on a world scale, on a kind of changing universal energy. Goddess Athena. Strategy. She was a strategist. She could see very clearly the best move to make, particularly when it came to war as well. And again, the black and white floor here is representative of both sides, being able to see both sides of something. So in our heads, it's kind of like we are beginning to realize that there is a higher purpose to this, if you like, that the, you know, justice is something that on a higher realm it's almost like the actions that we have done will lead to, or our past actions lead to our present actions, which lead into our future actions as well. So the outcome in some ways has already been decided from whatever has happened to us in the past, whether that's as a collective or whether that's as a kind of single individual as well. In many ways, it is universal justice. Getting more than one card falling out here. Okay, so we have Six of Pentacles with the Nine of Pentacles. We have the Emperor in reverse, and we have the King of Wands. So the Six of Pentacles here is about a situation of, again, balance, but it's also about cooperation, of, on some level, it's to do with power. And interestingly for me with this card, I say power because he kind of has the power here. He holds all the aces, if you like, because this character here has come to this king to plead with him, to help him out, because he's destitute, he has nothing, he's walked away from everything that he had to walk away, because he did literally, he has done something that was not lawful, shall we say. So he's gone into hiding and he's come to beg this king. But this king is in need at this time as well. He actually needs this character here more than he knows. So it looks like the power balance is all in his favour. But in fact, he has a skill that this king truly needs. And although this king, which for me is kind of representative of the larger, bigger powers in our lives, those who seem to have all the control and kind of pull all the strings. It's also saying that without this energy here, the working energy down here on his knees, this king wouldn't be in the position that he's in here. And it's come out over the top of this 9 of Pentacles here, which I was talking about earlier, as this kind of how we look at ourselves for our self-worth, what it is that we, or how it is that we what's the word I'm looking for here, kind of how we connect. That's not the right word. Could be. How we kind of connect with what we do as being who we are in the physical realm. And that's 6 of Pentacles here for me, is saying that there's an imbalance. There has been this imbalance for a long time, because this is also about giving and receiving as well. Giving and receiving energy. Because that's basically what this character here is going to do in exchange for this here, this money that he's holding in his hand. He is going to go and put his energy into doing something for this king here. And in return, this king is going, so it is that kind of work, boss, kind of employee, employed kind of relationship here as well. But if you put that onto a bigger scale as well, it's kind of saying to me that this character doesn't know how much power he actually holds in his hands because of his skill. And we've kind of seen this. We've kind of seen that the world has stopped, or the normal running of the world, the way that things, these, workers, in that sense, people with businesses, who you could put onto this level here, those that own and those that work. But either way, it's like everybody's kind of, can't speak, everybody is losing out on some level here. And so it's kind of having to bringing that balance of kind of seeing how important it is, and how important those that do the kind of mundane and the everyday jobs, who are still out there in many ways and still doing it and still kind of keeping the world running, that if it wasn't for them, everything would literally fall apart. And in this card, this king wouldn't be able to get what it is that he's hoping for. And again, if you put that into a kind of modern day scenario, this king relies on this worker, or this employee relies on this worker to be able to live the lifestyle that he wants to live here. To go on the holidays that he wants to go on and enjoy the benefits here. But it's talking about there has to be even give and take. This is really what it's about. It's about reciprocity. It has to be even. And it hasn't been for a long, long time. And that's, I feel, what this card is saying here. It hasn't been for a long time, and maybe we're kind of coming to terms, or becoming aware of that energy, because we have this Emperor card in reverse here, and I kind of see that as being this king on his throne here. And us kind of realising that, in fact, most of this is about dictatorship. Most of it is about us having to kind of, because this is Zeus, this is the top god, and you didn't argue with Zeus, and it's a similar kind of situation of like, you know, where you don't argue with those authority figures that have taken control, because the Emperor energy is about control. And when it's in reverse, it's about control that is out of hand. It's about control that is being kind of might is right control. Because I have the ability, I have the force behind me in many ways. The Emperor will be somebody who has the army, or the, you know, if he wants to go and take another person's country, he can just walk in there and kind of, well, this, you know, going back to those, to the Greek days, there wasn't a lot of diplomacy when it came to kind of, you know, Greeks, Romans, and lots of other cultures as well, who would just kind of take and expand their own world in many ways. And again, this is very kind of similar energy that I'm getting here, both in this kind of purple robes, kind of higher elite energy, that in this card here, when it's upside down, is being abused. It's an energy that's being abused. It's an energy that's being used for self-gain. He has the world in his hands. He has these thunderbolts here as well, which kind of represent the force of might is right. Particularly when it's in reverse. And we also have the King of Wands that has come out with this as well, though the King of Wands is upright. So we have the Queen of Wands here, this energy, this more kind of feminine energy, but doesn't necessarily have to be about the female energy, in the sense that it is a feminine energy, and the female energy is often more to do with communication, again, kind of working things out by being diplomatic about it, particularly when it's up the right way as well, of finding solutions to problems. But again, like I was saying, there is a lot of fire energy around at this time. All the fire signs are activated. Oh, I'm showing that one again. They're all activated. They're all motivational. They're all kicking in this kind of fire energy of kind of like, you know, wanting movement, wanting action, wanting dynamic change, really, is what this is saying. This here, he's sitting in a throne that's got ram's heads on it, so it very much relates to the Aries energy. And then we've got this energy here of the Leo as well, so we've got Mars energy here, and we've got the Sun energy here. The only one that's missing at the moment is the Sagittarius energy, but that's got the South Node in it, so it's not, and that's going to be there for the next 18 months as well. Not quite 18 months anymore, but 18 months in total, and it's only just got to about 26 degrees, so it's still going backwards. It's got a way to go. So there is this kind of fire compulsion, like really like combustion, and kind of wanting to create and do and make and change things. Even on some level, it could be about kind of burning things down, burning down the old. Because often, like, you have to burn down the old in order for the new to be able to grow out of that as well. That's like farmers would do with their fields. They would burn their fields in order for the new growth to come through. Doesn't happen so much anymore these days because there's so many more people on the planet. But there is a sense of this very strong like very headstrong energy that is kind of building, I feel, at this time as well. It's kind of headstrong energy of us in many ways kind of the Mars energy challenging the Emperor energy here as well. So let's see what's in the subconscious realm here. Yeah, just more stagnation really. The Hangman in reverse. Interestingly, stagnation, but also looking for a new perception, looking for a new perspective, looking for a new way of understanding what's going on, looking for, because he's literally kind of being hung out here. And it is a sacrifice, it is willing sacrifice. This is also Pisces energy. We have Neptune in Pisces at the moment. Neptune in Pisces, Neptune's in a home sign. Pardon me, sorry about that. Neptune also relates to the Christ energy as well, the 12th house energy, Christ energy, and I always kind of get a kind of similar feel with this card, how it looks like that kind of sacrificial Christ figure, although this is actually Prometheus, who interestingly was the blacksmith. He gave fire to the human race, and that's why he got attached to this rock, because Zeus here was not happy about it. So he used his might, his right, and hung Prometheus on this rock. And his punishment was to hang there forever. And being a god and being immortal forever was a long time. And so there is this feeling, particularly when it's up the wrong way, that this is something that seems to go on and on and on. It can kind of drag on, particularly, like I was saying, when it's in reverse. And this is probably how we're all kind of feeling at this time, that we've kind of been hung out to dry, and it's been a hell of a long time and nothing seems to have changed. But on a deeper level, we are going through this kind of awakening. We are awakening to something new within ourselves. And this full moon in Aquarius energy is very much about that. It's very much about awakening to something new within ourselves. Aquarius energy, innovative, but it's ruled by Uranus as well. That's the interesting thing about the Aquarian energy, and Uranus being the higher mind. It's kind of the bolt out of the blue energy, the change that is yet to come, the future that is kind of being developed in the present. Kind of what I feel that this energy is about here as well. That every moment is the future. Our past becomes our present, becomes our future. And so over the top of this wisdom energy, we have the devil in reverse. We have the King of Cups again, but here he's in reverse. We have the Four of Cups again in reverse. And we have the Nine of Swords in reverse. And interestingly, most of these cards have come out, the Mythic Tarot, most of them have come out upright in this. These have kind of all come out in reverse, and most of these have come out upright, but now they all seem to have decided they're coming out in reverse. This is for our energy that's moving in, the energy that we're going to be dealing with, or potential energy that we're going to be dealing with. So the Devil card here, first of all, over the top of this intuition, is kind of saying to me that there is a darker side that is going to be revealed. This, for me, is the Mars, Black Moon, Lilith energy that I was talking about slightly earlier. This is the dark, this is the unknown, this is the side of ourselves that we don't want to look at, especially when it's in reverse. We don't want to acknowledge it, we don't particularly want to see it. It's the kind of animalistic side of ourselves, the animal side of who we are, because we are animals. Although we kind of separate ourselves from that realm, we are still herd creatures. We are animals. We like to live together, even though we no longer are quite so kind of connected in the same way as we used to be when we lived in tribes or clans or communities. That's not quite as strong as it used to be. This Devil card here is in the Greek mythology. This is Pan, who was the god of nature. And he here is holding on to these two naked human beings by their own fears. And he is playing his pipes and they are dancing to this tune here, to his tune, because of their dark fears. It's like what we don't look at, what we refuse to acknowledge when it comes to our shadow energy, which is kind of what this is about our fears, about what other people will think of us if we do this or do that, particularly, as I was saying, over the top of this energy here. And I was kind of talking about that earlier, about how other people can't accept this side of human nature. And this is possibly also a reason why we don't trust this, is because of our fear, our innate hidden fears of being ridiculed, being made to feel stupid even. But on a deeper level, it also talks to our darker nature, and how if we ignore that darker nature can grow in the shadows until it becomes something so big but hidden still, which is very much Black Moon Lilith energy. And this is also about sexuality as well, which is Black Moon Lilith energy. It can be about forbidden, like temptation, forbidden fruit. Again, Black Moon Lilith energy. And the astrology that I am going to put out, the astrology read that I will be doing, I go much, much deeper into this energy, because I do really feel that this energy is going to be playing a huge part in the next half of this 2020 year. And it's, for me, it's like we need to face this, we need to clear this, we need to look at the darker nature of ourselves, of the world in general, the world that we don't want to look at. And we don't want to look at it because it's not very pleasant. But because we refuse to look at it, like I say, it grows, it gets bigger, it gets ignored, and therefore it's allowed to grow in the shadow, grow in the dark, until it gets to the point where it kind of believes in its own power in many ways, and it's kind of becomes something bigger than its original form. Even it's kind of, for me, it's a sense of a pervading darkness that we don't want to acknowledge. And we also have the King of Cups again. Here he's in reverse, so again it's this energy here, this sensitivity, and this is us not wanting to kind of look at it for fear, I feel. It's too overwhelming, it's too much, it's too dark, it's too unpleasant. The King of Cups is such a sensitive soul, as you can see if you look at this card here. You can see the sensitivity, you can see the compassion. But this card here is kind of saying that this is something that we don't want to acknowledge, because we don't want to see the darkness. And we also have the Four of Cups again, twice. So there is this deep sense of dissatisfaction here. There is this deep sense of us kind of with the Four of Cups, with this card in particular, I always see this as being trying to satisfy ourselves by outward things, outer things, rather than kind of realizing that in order to be happy we have to find that within ourselves, and then we can find it outside, in the outside world as well. But again, relating to this energy here, I just feel as though it's going to be overwhelming sorrow, sadness, unhappiness, discomfort, guilt even, discontent, if you see here, it's like these two sisters, both sides. Again, it's that Gemini energy of, you know, right, wrong, left brain, right brain, the angel and the devil. And they're both kind of, or the two wicked sisters out of Cinderella as well, both kind of whispering in her ear. Here she's got everything. She's got a beautiful palace, she's got a beautiful lifestyle, she's got everything she wants, but she's not happy. And these two voices are representative, or these two sisters are representative of those voices in her head, because something is missing, something isn't right. It's all an illusion, really. That's what this card is saying. It's all an illusion. And I feel that that's what this is here. It's kind of waking us up to an illusion that we've been living for a long time. And the Nine of Swords here is kind of cherry on the top of the cake, if you like. It's kind of really bringing those fears into focus. those deep buried fears that none of us want to acknowledge. This is the card of nightmares, and I really, again, I can't stress it enough, my astrology reading, I go into the depths of this, and it, I feel personally, is going to be a nightmare. What is going to be revealed, what is going to be discovered here with this energy is going to be dark, and it is going to be a nightmare. It is like the illusion is going to be shattered. So let's see what we have in our hopes and our fears. And here as well, if you see the dark behind there, it's like something that's lurking in the background. It's how I'm kind of feeling this, like this deep dark tunnel. It's like there's no light coming out of that whatsoever. There's no light. And I feel that that's how it's going to feel for quite some time. That there is no light at the end of this tunnel. Again, like this energy here possibly as well. Okay, so over the top of the Three of Staves, we have the Two of Pentacles, we have the Six of Swords, and we have the Ace of Swords. So the Two of Pentacles is in reverse, the Six of Swords is upright, and the Ace of Swords is in reverse. This is hopes and fears, so it's not reality, it's not actually manifested yet, but that doesn't mean it won't do. The Two of Pentacles is kind of us wanting to get back out there. That's how I see this, us wanting to get back at that table. This is to do with work, this is to do with our value, this is to do with how we provide for ourselves. It's in reverse. So at this time, it kind of feels as though this is just an ongoing process. In the sense of, it's in reverse, it's like stagnant energy. It's again, it's like wanting to do something but not being able to do it. Not being able to get back into that groove, if you like, that work, that kind of familiarity, that knowing what you're doing, how you're doing it, why you're doing it. And it's also, like I said, come out with the Six of Swords here, which is a feeling of us kind of leaving the past behind and wanting to move forward into this future, this calmer, more serene future energy, calmer waters. This is a lot of emotion that's kind of carrying it forward as well. There is a sense here of tranquility. There is a sense with the Six of Swords of knowing that you're leaving something behind that is not working, that's not working for us any longer. And it also has the Ace of Swords in reverse. Again, this is just hopes and fears. It's not definite. But it is kind of saying with this Ace of Swords here that we are in many ways kind of prepared for the worst. For me, it's kind of this, it is Athene energy again. It's this justice energy in the sense of this is the same goddess in her lower form, higher form and lower, kind of more mundane day-to-day energy. But it was in reverse. And so it's like wearing our battle, like our armour, you know, ready for battle. Our sword is drawn. And we're kind of standing there and kind of waiting for the next onslaught, like, you know, we're prepared. We know there's something more to come. Again, this is hopes and fears, so it's not kind of a definite energy, but it kind of says that on the mental realm, that's where we're at. We're kind of mentally prepared for the next onslaught. And in some ways, when you get into this energy, you can kind of attract that in as well, so that you're constantly on kind of alert or in this kind of battle mode, ready to fight anything. And so on some level it kind of says to me, you know, this sword needs to be put down. Air energy, communication. Maybe diplomacy is called for here rather than battling and fighting through everything. And last card that we have here is the King of Cups energy. And the King of Cups, what is the King of Cups saying to us here? What is this kind of final outcome that we're expecting here with this King of Cups energy for this new moon, sorry, full moon, Aquarius full moon energy. Aquarius full moon energy. Okay. Oh, hiding behind there. Okay, so the Nine of Wands is saying that there's a lot of struggle. A lot of struggle. In reverse, it's kind of saying that we need to let go of whatever it is that's holding us back from allowing us to move forward into this future. Again, it's similar to this energy here of us kind of being in this karma or seeing this karma and serene waters and knowing that this is our future, this is where we want to get to. And it's the same here. This is the future. It's kind of all lit up and ready and waiting for us, but we need to get through this bit here in order to get into these calmer waters. And these, because it was in reverse, this here, all this emotion, again similar with this card here, but here the emotions are kind of pushing us forward, away from something, away from the past. It's the emotions that are carrying this boat here, whereas in this card the emotions are kind of keeping it in this place here, keeping it stuck. And of course we do have this 9 here as well, so these are both cards of things not reaching an end yet. They're not at a completion, and both in reverse as well. It's kind of saying to me it's going to be a longer lasting energy of what we're going to have to cope with or deal with here. And we have the Knight of Wands, who has come out upright. So we now have the Knight, we have the Queen, and we have the King of Wands. So this is the fire energy, activated fire energy here. The trio. The Knight is looking for I feel here as though the Knight is kind of that this is representative, if you like, of the this is representative of what's going to be revealed, when I talk about this energy here and what's going to come out. In the sense of, if you look, this is a chimera. This is kind of two animals that have been created as one. But I feel it's kind of symbolic, because here the Knight of Wands, he's killed this creature down here. He's killed the chimera. And it's kind of symbolic of killing something, or of something that we don't, again, that's something that we don't want to look at. It's different, it's weird, it's odd, it's kind of bizarre or ugly, or, but I feel it's representative of bringing light into the dark here. It does kind of feel like, in many ways, the Mars courageous spirit as well, of having to face things that we don't necessarily want to face in order to be able to release it. And it does feel like this kind of heroic energy here. This Mars courage, heroic energy that we're going to have to kind of call on. As we kind of stay stuck in this emotional turmoil. And it's almost kind of like we're going to be stuck in this emotional turmoil until we kind of face up to this, until we really kind of look at it and really kind of accept all of it, which is what I feel this is about as well. There's kind of acceptance of all of it, even though we don't want to. And we have the Hermit energy that's come out with this as well. So collectively, the Hermit energy it's all come out over the top of this King of Cups, and I'm getting this really strong feeling of compassion from this card. Compassion. More than anything else. Love and compassion, softer, kind of finding this softer energy that's going to help heal as well, which I feel is what this card is about, this Hermit energy card here as well, a healing. It is in reverse, so again I feel as though this is going to be long lasting energy, and it's kind of saying it's an energy that we're almost going to be forced into. Going within, seeking those answers, again into this underworld, into this kind of metamorphic stage in many ways. It's not the same as the Death card, but it's kind of, I feel like a shock energy. This kind of shock, this withdrawal, this kind of need to go within and find answers within ourselves collectively, like cognitive dissonance. And this kind of scythe here representing things that we need to remove from our past in order to be able to move forward. But until we kind of transform this energy, which I feel is going to be a longer lasting thing as well. I feel this is something that is going to take some time. This isn't going to happen immediately. But there is a Chiron element within this as well, and I feel that because Chiron is also one of the rulers of Virgo, and the Hermit energy is Virgo energy. So there is also a healing with this light here as well, this kind of inner spiritual light. There is this healing. It is like a mass healing that has to take place, but it can only take place after the darkness has been kind of brought to the surface. And that's, I feel, what this full moon, in Aquarius is about. It is talking about change. It is saying that there is this massive shock, because Aquarius is shock. Uranus is shock. It is change, but it is change that comes with a shock. It's a huge wake-up call. It's a massive, unexpected event that, and because it's collective energy, it's going to be something that is not going to be hidden. It's something that's going to be brought out under the full moon kind of microscope light, if you like, and there will be nowhere to hide from this. So those are the energies for this Aquarius full moon, and I feel again that it is about, before we are able to move into the future, that we can't take this energy with us. This energy has to be dealt with. It has to be cleared out, and that's really what this is saying for me. There is a shock coming. Too many. So what do we have here? We have, you are free. You are no longer trapped in the bonds of karma. I'm sorry about this circle. Somebody put something down on it. So there's kind of the justice energy there as well. You are free, you are no longer trapped in the bonds of karma. And I feel that that is kind of where we're heading as we hit this kind of 0-degree point, that we are freeing ourselves of this karma, which is kind of representative of this as well, this past energy that we're kind of being kept in before we can move forward. Let's see what else we have here. See what other answers we have from the universe for this Aquarius full moon. Universe, what other answers do you want to give us at this time, or is that enough? Okay. Fear must go, which I think is very appropriate, talking of this devil energy and this 9 of Swords energy here. Fear must go. We have to release it, but in order to release it, we have to face it first. Never forget that you are one with everything. Never forget we are all together in this adventure, the cosmic adventure of wisdom and truth, which is kind of this High Priestess energy. Wisdom and truth. Ancient knowledge, or the deeper knowledge, the deeper knowing. And the only true goal is to move closer to and eventually combine with the fountainhead of light. Everything else that you do is but a reflection of this goal. And there is our goal. There is the light. That's what we're all trying to find within. So that is the conclusion of my full moon Aquarius reading today. I hope that it has been of some help to you. I hope that you find some comfort, some peace, some understanding from it. I know my readings aren't conventional, I've said this before, but they are the kind of bigger message that I have been working with for many, many years. And I kind of felt that it was something that I was being like pushed into doing as well, was kind of get those messages out into the wider collective. So that being said, if you have enjoyed my reading, please could you thumbs it up for me and like it for me. Also, could you subscribe to my channel as well? Thank you very much to those of you who have liked my videos, and thank you very much to those of you who have subscribed to me. I have lost some subscribers recently. I've noticed that the numbers have gone down just a little bit. I don't know if that's a YouTube thing or if people have just decided that my videos are not for their liking, which is fine. It's not everybody's cup of tea. So, but if it does resonate with you and you want to know more about my readings and how and why, etc., then please subscribe and also tap that bell so that you can get the videos as and when I put them out. I do all the zodiac signs. I also do the full moon and the new moons, and I also do major shifts of energy as well. Like I say, I also do both tarot readings and the astrology at the time of the full and the new moon. And so I think that's everything covered. If you feel like sharing this video, if you think it's going to benefit anybody else that you know, please also feel free to do that. And take very good care of yourselves, and hopefully I will see you again soon.